Okay, welcome to your feedback for the pretest essay. Thank you for getting that into me. Okay, so I'm going to try and give you a bunch of different pieces of feedback on this piece, and I hope it will help you when you're crafting Unit 1 to kind of see what the expectations are like. And I won't get to everything, so if there's anything else that you want me to go over, please send me an email or jump into office hours or um, come and see me before or after class. Okay, so here we go. So, kind of starting with this screen right here, we want to make an impactful statement here. So, first, just having pipeline as the title doesn't really tell me a whole lot. So, we really want to work on title. Um, saying something about either your argument or being more informative about what pipeline are we talking about, or something to, you want the title to get the reader involved. So even though it's an assignment, we want to make sure that we're thinking of an audience, right? We're thinking of entering in a conversation with these two people that write newspapers. And so in newspapers, titles are very important. So we want to make sure we get a good title in here. Also, you want to utilize Adobe Spark. So the way and I think you probably you wanted to put some photographs in here. So just making sure you're going back to Spark and looking at how you put photographs in. Um, because it's really not impactful just to see the URL here. You want those JPEGs in here, and it's also a good idea, to look at this before you turn it in, or if you're working at a newspaper, or working on a manuscript, you want to make sure that you are taking a look at how it looks before you turn it in. So again, this front page like really would want some kind of image here. You want to utilize this form to argue, right? We can, if you want to kind of argue that the pipeline is environmentally harmful, you could do some image of the pipeline harming the world. Or you could, if you were pro this, you could do something about someone's gas bill, or a kind of calming, serene scene. Okay, so that's kind of the first part. Like, so title and some kind of image here. You want to use the form, or you could do a video that kind of plays in the background as well. Okay, so um, all right, so we'll talk about this first paragraph here. So if we look, both Pearl and Joyce make great arguments for their respective stances, right? So great arguments is just a blanket term, right? We're talking about, like, if I was writing a book report and I didn't quite know what the book was about, I would say, oh, this was a great book. So we want something more specific. What about their arguments is good? Obviously, they're doing two different arguments, so is one of them more effective? Okay, so don't don't feel the need for a blanket statement here. We want to get into, it might be helpful just to split them up, recap what the conversations are like, and then go into kind of your analysis, right? That might be a better way to kind of introduce this. Okay, so this next sentence, I believe that they both felt, I think you want to say felt strongly about the sides they are taking, and reasonably so, as this is a major topic which could shape the economy and lifestyle of people in the area of years to come. Um, okay, so this is a really long sentence, and there's a lot of terms here. So you want to split this up into a couple. And you also want to make sure, again, you're just reading through this. Like, this small spelling error, this is easily avoidable. So just making sure that you're reading through before you're turning these assignments in. And again, you know, we know what area they're in, so just try to be a little more specific. Like, what area are we talking about? You know, we're talking about a particular area of North Carolina, and this is where an image of where the pipeline comes might be helpful to put into your piece. All right, so the next sentence, I deem that although it may be necessary to build this pipeline, there may be a way for both sides to come to more of a resolution. Perfect. Okay. So I think you're doing a good job here. So this is a good sentence. So if anything, maybe the anti-pipeline side, right? You want to make sure that comes together. Can work out a way to still build the pipeline while finding a way to reasonably accommodate their own concerns as well. The picture in the link provided shows some people protesting, right? You want to put that picture in and then have a underneath, right? I don't see how these two statements, you're saying that they need to accommodate their concerns, and then you want a picture of them um, protesting. Like, you know, a better way to kind of argue this point is to show like a pipeline against a very nice, serene, and a naturalistic background, right? It looks like the pipe and nature are harmonious with one another. So if that's the point you're trying to make, you want the image to kind of help that point. Okay, so the argument for building the pipeline made much more sense to me for many number of reasons. I think you want to say for many. Um, so you want to put that in context, right? Which of these two was in, uh, you know, in conversation, right? You know, this is statement's kind of confusing. So, you know, the logic of what we're going to is you're saying they're both doing good, and then they need to work. They need to work together. If anything, you want the anti-pipeline to kind of um, compromise, right? So this is the flow. So what I'd be expecting next um, is something about why the anti-pipeline is wrong. Um, so you're making those pro pipeline um, statements here. You just want to make sure, like, this is a very blanket statement. Like, let's be more specific. We're going to go after the anti-pipeline ideology here. Okay. So perfect. So I mean, this is a good argument, right? North Carolina is growing, and we need more energy, so that's good. Again, making sure that you're just looking for small errors here. It really kind of takes away from the article. Um, cool. All right. Again, I think I'm not going to go over the picture stuff. You need to just embed the picture and then have this um, under the picture, right? Um, and I'd like to see, like, there's not a lot of transitions between these statements. Like I kind of showed you before. Like, I'd be expecting against pipeline. You're going pro pipeline. So you can reorganize this first one of just saying, like, oh, let's look at the pro pipeline first, um, you know, to make a transition statement here, kind of right here. So this logically makes sense. Okay. So now you're getting to acknowledging the key points that were made by those oppose it. Um, Again, I think, you know, what you're trying to do two things at one time, and I think it might be easier to just first couple paragraphs summarize, maybe a third paragraph go into like how you are reading this, like which one to you is the better argument, and then going through your own argument about why you feel that way. Does that make sense? Okay. So I also just want to point out, I think we've talked about this in class, but avoiding this in the sentence to begin one, right? You're not you're not telling me what this is, so just be careful, right? We just don't know that. Um, the other thing I just want to speaking of beginning sentences, is to look at this paragraph here. Um, you have this sentence begins with the, this sentence begins with the, this sentence begins with the, and this sentence begins with the, and this sentence begins with the. So you break it up a little, but having the over and over again as the start of a sentence can get really repetitive. So you want to kind of stylize the sentences by um, doing different beginnings. So just to keep in mind, like you're a little better on this paragraph here, but just really be careful of that. You don't want, especially two in a row, you want to break them up. And I think you've done a better job down here of doing that. Okay. All right. So one key aspect of both articles, which gave their points more credibility. Okay. So, right, you kind of are working against this. You want to go into like opposing, and you're bringing into both sides right away. So, like, think about how you want to organize and carp, just kind of put your thoughts. I don't know why I can't talk this today. You want to put your thoughts in different buckets, right? Um, so that's one way. All right. Okay, so you disagree that the anti-pilot advocates, when they say those are simply, they simply just care about profits. I believe they'll definitely support the economy and create much needed jobs. I certainly believe that the benefits outweigh. Okay, perfect. So you're taking a stance, which is really good. I think as the reader, though, you haven't quite convinced me that this is completely good for the economy, and we should completely unacknowledge all of the environmental aspects. And again, like make sure that you're putting actual media in here. Like I want the pictures to show up. Um, and for some inspiration, it might help you just to go through some of the other Spark pages on the Google Doc, just to kind of see what other people are doing. So I hope this has been helpful. Let me know if you have any additional questions. If not, I'll see you in class.